Here we are at IoT World, and joining me today is Tony Shakib. Welcome.
Thank you, pleasure.
So you're dealing with IoT at Microsoft. That is not a small deal. Where do you start?
So, we've been at it for 6 years now. And, the way we start is we have built a pervasive set of platform services on top of our Azure cloud. In addition to the, cloud side, we have developed a lot of technologies on the edge side, and then the IoT hub and edge, they work in orchestration together to really help manage the onboarding of all these IoT devices, making sure that they're secure end to end, and we can ingest the data, make sense of the data, and do really meaningful things with it. So that's kind of like where we started, but connecting things, making sense of the data that comes from it, and this is where the journey is starting. And now a lot of amazing stuff are starting to come to fruition.
So where is the industry right now in terms of businesses? Because you're dealing with very large companies. Do they have a handle on everything, or are they dealing with little segments?
Yeah, we do work with a lot of companies, and most of them have multiple IoT use cases. And if you look at it, if you take like a typical manufacturing company, they usually have a big operation in terms of their supply chain of how all the material is coming in, supplies are coming in, so IoT can play a big role in that. Then there is the engineering part of it, that they try to figure out like how do we build these products for maximum performance and impact. IoT plays a big role in that. Then there's the production part of it, of how they're going to manufacture these things. And the manufacturing process, there's a lot of different variability. And how do they manage that so they get a consistent product at the end of it? IoT plays a big part in that. Then once the product is built, is like how do we go through the distribution channel and sell it? There's a big part that we can play on that. And then lastly is on the retail part of it. How do they actually get it in the hands of the consumer and get all the, what we call the digital feedback loop, all the real-time information coming back. So, IoT plays a big role in all of that, and then there's a big part on how do you connect like the end-to-end operations for a big enterprise, and then is like how do you do it at a global level, because they might have that operation in a certain geography, and then how do they, get that visibility around the globe and compare the performance of it. So, IoT could be a very small use case, or it could be massive in the way they run their entire operations.
And does an enterprise come to you and say, we want to go end to end, or do you typically start with a business unit, then another business unit, and then someone eventually says, we should tie all this together?
That's a great question, Chuck. What we do is, first of all, we show them the vision, the grand plan on what they should be doing to become a completely digital company. And we help them create a platform so they don't have to replicate a lot of this work multiple times over again and solve the problems over again. So we always start with that pervasive platform that has the ability to connect everything in their business and bring the data, make sense of it, and run it very efficiently. And then once they implement the platform and they have the capabilities, then we kind of like start small, depending on their appetite and how fast they want to go. We try to pick the areas that's most important to them so they can very quickly feel, the value. They can see how this thing is transforming their business. And then as they see that, then based on that same digital platform, they can expand it to their adjacent businesses.
So you're dealing with a lot of digital transformation and basically disruption. How are organizations handling the disruption? Because you have a lot of people involved.
Yeah, it's a great question. There's always two parts to this. One is technology, that honestly I think is the easiest part to solve. The other one is change management. But change management, the beauty of IoT is that it's like augmenting the human operations. The goal is not to get rid of the humans, but it is to make their job easier. especially when there's redundant, repetitive type activities where like you want to do quality inspection on devices. You don't want to have somebody sitting there watching these products coming out. It's a lot easier for machines to do and then alert them when there is an anomaly. So the value quickly comes to life. I think once people get a taste of it and see it, then change management becomes easier, but it does take time.
So is it about automation or is it about augmentation of what people do? Where does it fall?
Yeah, there's usually like 3 steps to this process. The first part is just to get visibility to your operation. Quite honestly, a lot of the businesses don't really have good visibility of exactly what's going on in their production environment or in their hospital or the clinic. There's a set of practices that people follow, but you never know how it's being adhered to all the time. So first part is to connect and visualize. Just get visibility of how am I running this business. The second part of it is then how do you start developing patterns that you can run things better, and effectively drive this optimization of your business. So that some of it comes from practice, and we have a lot of experience by having done this with other companies that we can bring forward, and some of it is very unique to their own operations. And then the third part of it is where you have a connected supply chain and ecosystem where not only you're optimizing the way you're running your business, but also the way you're working with all of your partners. The way the orders are coming in, the way the supplies are coming in, and everything is automated end to end. That's really the third level of maturity. So that's what we call with connected products to connected environments as the second step to the connected ecosystem as the third step.
And your clients, do they look at it as you just described it, connected this and connected that, or do they say this is IoT? Do they care that it's IoT, or are they looking for end-to-end solutions?
They're looking for end-to-end solution. IoT is just part of the ingredient. It's the way that you get visibility of your assets, and it's a necessary part. But very soon then we bring other technologies like the AI and analytics. We have the Synapse engine that can start now making sense of the data and make recommendations. And then the third part of it is when you get into autonomous operations where the machines are really helping make these decisions.
So where does this go from here? You're dealing with very large companies.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like the one-year thing.
It's not a one-year thing. Everybody is at a different stage of this journey. The good thing is, like when I started this IoT endeavor, 15 years ago, people were still trying to understand what it is. I think everybody gets it, and they know that the value, the business outcome is there. Honestly, in the last couple of years, during the COVID period, things have accelerated because then people really, it became a matter of survival, like being able to run things remotely, not physically being present in these locations because they couldn't be. To have supply chain diversification because different things are happening that's disrupting their supply chain, so they need to quickly react to it. So many of these things that was a neat concept, now it's just a matter of survival, and we're seeing this adoption accelerate significantly. Like what we think has happened in the last 2 years is faster than what had happened in the last 10, 15. And I think that pace is going to continue.
So if we're having this conversation a year from now, what would you be talking about?
So the concept that we're now talking about is this concept of metaverse, right? That once you go beyond the connectivity and the IoT, is like how do you start creating this digital replica of the actual business and environment that you're running and start simulating possible outcomes of how to continuously run it better and better. That is like a never-ending, loop. It's something that it's just going to continue to, just make every business better, every business much more efficient. The relationships between, these businesses, their customers and employees a lot more effective. So I think it's just one of those things that, like the Industrial Revolution that took 100 years, we got another 100 years to drive this path.
Well, I look forward to talking to you to see where we are next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.